Okay. For 200 years, the human population has depended on the combustion engine for their vehicles, fueled by various forms of refined crude oil and petroleum products. The extended use of these products has created an imbalance of gases in the atmosphere, which is the leading cause of global warming. This is why President Biden has issued his day one executive order to make half of all new vehicles sold by 2030 zero emissions vehicles. And another goal is 100% of these vehicles will be 0% or zero emissions vehicles by 2035. In order to accomplish this, automotive companies must incur a great deal of upfront expenses to expedite a complete restructuring of their entire business, including manufacturing procedures, facilities, and materials. To ensure American automotive companies can survive the financial strain of producing enough new electric vehicles to fill the demand within the government's timeframe, the federal government needs to develop a subsidy program to alleviate some of the overwhelming costs brought on by their electric vehicle mandate. Manufacturing companies are facing a lot of financial strain as they ramp up the production of electric vehicles. According to Nadia Lopez, who writes for Cal Matters, the manufacturing of electric vehicles is entirely different than the combustion engine vehicles. In her article titled Facing California Deadlines, Automakers Race to Provide Electric Vehicles, Lopez goes on to explain the expenses and challenges automotive companies are facing as they transition into manufacturing electric vehicles. First, they have to build new facilities. Then they have to train their employees on the new protocols and procedures for producing these vehicles. And then they also have to have stronger robotic equipment to maintain and carry out the steps to put the batteries into these vehicles. Most of the materials and assembly for the batteries are in China right now. So that's another issue, is transporting them over to the United States. Several companies, including Ford, are in the process of building their own battery plants for the United States. Ford's battery and mega factory is already under construction at this point in Blue Oval City, Tennessee. It should be completed in 2025, and the complex has cost Ford about $5.6 billion. They're only going to be able to produce about 500,000 electric vehicles every year from this one plant. With so much money being invested into creating new manufacturing facilities that can support the growing demand for electric vehicles, this leaves the automotive companies a little strapped for cash in other areas of business, such as the designing and developing of new styles of electric vehicles. And let's face it, we live in a world where we have to have options to choose from. According to a 2019 report by Mark Singer with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, one major reason that Americans are not transferring into electric vehicles is that they do not have a lot of options. For customers to feel comfortable buying an electric vehicle, first they want to be able to find one that meets their needs and their budget. And for that to happen, we have to have variety. Now, when you look about today, there are about 400 different models of vehicles produced every year, according to Car and Driver website. However, only 10% of those vehicles are electric vehicles at this time. So until automotive companies can create multiple models of electric vehicles to choose from, consumers are less likely to buy an electric car in a predominantly fuel-powered car market. But you have to also look at the fact that the cost to design a new model of a vehicle is a very hefty investment for vehicle manufacturers. According to John Wolowitzk, senior analyst of the North America branch of IHS Global, it can be as much as $6 billion to produce a new vehicle from scratch. As you can see, the automotive companies are forced to spend astronomical amounts of money on the research and development of new electric vehicles, adding even more to their financial strain brought on by the federal mandate. In addition to the expenses of design and production comes the safety concerns of handling these new materials that could be potentially harmful. While manufacturing electric vehicles, employees are exposed to several potential hazards, and they fear the unknown consequences of dealing with these hazards. Workers don't know if they'll get burnt by the electric vehicle materials. They don't know if something else will develop because all of this is new. There are a lot of unknown, said Laura Dickerson, who is the United Auto Workers Union leader. First of all, you look at electric vehicles require using lead in their designs, which is a major health risk. Then also lithium is a highly flammable and explosive product, and that's what the main component of these batteries are. Then automotive companies also have these high voltage electrical connections all around while in the production of these electric vehicles. So automotive companies need to have enough funding to protect their employees during assembly. Employees need to have all the safety gear necessary to do their job without putting themselves in danger. And employees also need the proper training to perform those tasks in a safe way. So as you can see, expenses are adding up for the automotive companies, who are being forced to develop entirely new products to stay in business as the government mandates phase out all of their current revenue. It is important that we do all we can to preserve the automotive industry because they play a huge factor in the American economy. According to Sky Ariella from Zippia, the automotive industry accounts for almost 1 million manufacturing jobs here in the United States, and they make up 3% of the Americans' gross domestic products that they distribute worldwide. In 2022, they sold an estimated 13.75 million vehicles, which translates into over $1.5 trillion flowing through the American economy. In order for these companies to survive, they will need to be given supplemental funding to make this transition in such a short time and to not disrupt the industry flow of production for the future. Government subsidies are the best solution for this impending problem. Though there are some who consider government subsidies to be just simple handouts, they have been proven to be necessary and effective means of preserving many forms of businesses while keeping the price of products affordable to consumers and providing stability to the economy. According to Evan Tarver from Investopedia, subsidies have proven themselves effective in multiple other industries, such as agriculture, oil, housing, energy producers, and healthcare. It also helps keep the cost down for the new electric vehicles, which helps consumers. So, as America moves further away from the use of crude oil and petroleum products as an energy source, we are forced to say goodbye to the familiar combustion engine. This is a necessary change to preserve life on Earth and repair the effects of global warming. For the automotive companies here in the United States to be able to stay in business and transition their entire product line to abide by government mandates into the time allowed, they need the support of the federal government, who has forced them into this situation. As I have explained, the expenses involved with switching to the production of electric vehicles is astronomical, and we must do what we can to keep the automotive industry afloat. This will maintain employment for nearly 1 million workers and keep the U.S. economy stable, avoiding another automotive industry bailout in the future. To ensure American automotive companies can survive the financial strain of producing new electric vehicles within the government's time frame, the federal government needs to develop a subsidy program to alleviate some of the overwhelming costs brought on by their electric vehicle mandate.